This is CBC Here and Now.
People in and around Happy Valley Goose Bay have been without power since early yesterday morning, and there's freezing rain still falling there, causing some problems. I'll tell you about that coming up.
More than 36 hours without power and counting.
How people are handling the outage and what crews are doing to restore power.
There's more than just the washouts that we have. Right now there's engineers doing inspections of the various bridges.
You hate to go in and grab a whole abundance of it because you know there's other people that's behind just waiting for their chance. So it's like, how do you do that?
Argentia is not a reasonable backup. Better than none, but not really a reasonable backup for the West Coast.
I literally just got the phone with a fire chief who just delivered fresh bread and milk to an 89-year-old couple.
Groceries being flown in by helicopter as construction continues on the southwest coast.
Meanwhile, trucks stand by in North Sydney waiting to make tonight's crossing. Welcome to Here and Now. I'm Carolyn Stokes.
And I'm Anthony Germain. Well, the same system that brought record rainfall and washed out roads in southwestern Newfoundland has knocked out electricity for some residents in central Labrador. The outage started shortly after 3 a.m. yesterday and affected about 5,000 customers. Throughout the day, Newfoundland Hydro used backup generators to provide power to some people. Here Now's Heidi Adder has more now from Happy Valley Goose Bay.
It's been a foggy day in the Upper Lake Melville area as some people have been without power for more than 36 hours. NL Hydro crews have been trying to restore it and providing power through a backup generator where possible. Warming shelters have also been established at churches and community halls to help vulnerable people, including at the Labrador Friendship Centre.
I had to make the choice to have staff come into work because we need people here to help people. So I want people to understand that it might be just a power outage to some people, but to others it means their health. And it's important to be able to provide that service. We also charged up someone's equipment too for their health, so it's important to be able to do that too.
The town looks very different than usual, with all Christmas lights off as well. People with power are being told to conserve it in hopes of bringing others online. Sheshatshianu First Nation Chief Eugene Hart says much of their area is still without power. A number of people brought blankets and had to sleep at the community's youth center last night.
I think a lot of people are going around helping each other, what I can see, and a lot of families are like, and a lot of say for one house, there's a lot of family there, right? But I'm grateful for the community picking up and helping out with each other yesterday. As I can see myself, the community was pulling through together.
People have been getting creative to stay warm, from camping stoves to wearing winter gear inside. Some people have been using snow to keep food cold and bundling up in blankets in the dark, all hoping the lights will flicker back on soon. Heidi Adder, CBC News, Happy Valley, Goose Bay.
While this outage has been a challenging one for repair crews at NL Hydro, it's also provided an opportunity. Joining me now to talk more about that is the VP of Operations, Scott Crosby. So first of all, what's the situation right now?
Well, the situation right now is that our customers have been through a very difficult 1.5 days because of the storm that's come through and caused a lot of damage right across our province. But in this particular case, we've seen some freezing rain that affected the transmission line that normally serves this area from Churchill Falls, and it's damaged it. So that line's been out of service. 3 a.m. yesterday is roughly when we lost power. We had crews out at 4 a.m. in the morning on that line patrolling it. So they're still working to put it in service, but yesterday afternoon it was clear that that line could not be put back in service. And it would take at least today, if not longer. So we made a decision then to move to our emergency plan, which we had prepared in advance. And that was to interconnect this area with the new transmission line we have that will still serve the customers here from Churchill Falls, albeit on a new and reliable transmission line. However, to interconnect it would have required a day-long outage for our customers. So rather than take customers off, we had all our plans set in place. We were right ready to go. So when the storm created this emergency and the power was out and we knew we were going to have another day, we were just in a very good position to execute that plan and do the interconnection now. Doing it before this time would have caused an extra customer outage because we were already on an outage, there was no additional impact other than the outage that we have. So it essentially saved customers 1 day's outage.
When do you expect power to be restored and for this line to be up and running, I guess you could say?
Later on this evening, shortly after supper, they would be in a place where we could energize the terminal station with the new line. After that, we have to then go through a very sequenced process to back out of our emergency supply that we're doing using our existing gas turbine here and do a lot of switching in and around town on different feeders. And we want to do that in a way that doesn't trip everybody off or cause a bigger problem. So there'll be, once the station's energized, shortly after supper, there'll be several hours after that before the last customers are energized on the new line.
So everyone should have power back this evening at some point.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, well, Scott Crosby, thank you so much for this update and good luck with it.
Yes, and I want to say thanks to our customers and a super thanks to our workers who have been out there in very wet, sloppy, cold conditions, freezing rain, and they're just real troopers. And I wish everybody could see how hard they work.
Well, now to the southwest coast of the island, where the Canadian military will be brought in to assist with airlifting people out of Port aux Basques. Ottawa says crews will also help keep the supply chain moving right across the province. A helicopter flew groceries into Port aux Basques today, trying to stay on top of demand as residents wait for supplies such as food and fuel to come across on the ferry. And in Nova Scotia, look at that, more than 225 commercial trucks lined up, waiting to make a much longer crossing to the island, with Port aux Basques cut off from the rest of the island for a week or more. These drivers in North Sydney will instead cross to Argentia, a 16-hour journey rather than the 6 or 7 hours that they're used to. Well, many communities, many schedules disrupted. Some small businesses worry that a lag in supply means potentially losing their much-needed customers. Others on the West Coast argue there should be a backup ferry, saying Argentia just isn't the answer.
Our trucks couldn't get here on Thursday because they were stranded on the other side. Our cigarette orders did not come in, so that means a lot of people here has got to go somewhere else to look for their cigarettes, if they can find it anywhere else, because it's hard to get it in. All of our Amazon orders and things like that that people depend on us having here, we don't have it. This store brings in the things that people can come and buy, and it doesn't cost them an arm and a leg.
There'll be huge pools of water as well, all around the back of my house here. And water flowing even through the garden to the chicken coop here. Water flowing all over the place here, going over the bank. I've never seen that before. It came up during one of the hurricanes in the past. Two alternate sites were talked about actually. One was Bay St. George, which is Stephenville. And the other one that was talked about actually was Bay of Islands in Corner Brook. Obviously, Argentia is not a reasonable backup. Better than none, but not really a reasonable backup for the West Coast, because it's on the opposite side of the island. It's our Trans-Canada Highway, is what it is. It's our link to the mainland. All our goods and services, supply of goods and foods, and passengers going back and forth as well. That's a vital link to the West Coast. Now, during the summer season, they have both locations, Argentia and Port aux Basques during the summertime. But during the winter, it's just Port aux Basques. So if that link gets cut off, then our supply of goods is cut off and everything is cut off. And that is even more important than people, because people can fly and people can find other ways to get off the island.
A lot of our supplies for Christmas, a lot of people from here in our community come here to buy. All of their baking goods, they come here to buy. But if we can't get those supplies in, people's going to move somewhere else. And it seems like when people move from one business to another, they don't come back.
Well, despite delays and dwindling supplies, residents are being asked not to hoard food or gas. Energy Minister Andrew Parsons is the MHA for Burgeo-Lapoille, which includes Port aux Basques.
So there has been shortages of staples like bread, milk, eggs. There's been a run on that in the local area. So the good news is that supplies have been and will be showing up. There's literally an airlift going on right now, dropping some in the Codroy Valley area, which is disconnected. And there was a ferry that came across last night and dropped off bread, I believe eggs are on the way, and milk also. So while there are temporary shortages, I think people will be fine. There's certainly no need to panic or to hoard or anything like that. It's just hopefully it's just an inconvenience for a time.
And as the road work continued today, the mayor of Port aux Basques says fuel is a major issue, not for the residents of his town. He says there's nowhere for them to go, but for town vehicles, those in surrounding communities, and for the heavy equipment being used to repair the washouts. The town has also set up a 1-800 number for those in need of non-emergency air travel.
We live in a community where a lot of people are rotational workers. You know, they're living in our community, but probably working in Alberta and Labrador and different places throughout the country that they're working. So we're seeing a lot of these people now have arrived. They want to get home for their time off. Some more people that are getting ready to go out. There will be a priority put to all this, of course, but you know, there is a chance now for people to register, to send in their information, and then from that we'll be able to hopefully they'll be able to go where they need to go.
So as you heard Skipper from NL Hydro talking about the freezing rain hampered some of those power line repairs that needed to get the power back there in and around the Happy Valley Goose Bay area. And that's because there was a freezing rainfall warning for most of the day in central Labrador in and around Happy Valley Goose Bay. And there's currently one in place right now in Labrador West as well, so that'll continue overnight. And now we were also talking about what was going on the southwest coast and in and around Port aux Basques, all the problems they're having. Well, guess what's going to happen tomorrow? There's a wreck house wind warning in effect, but after all the rain they've had, I'm sure they'll be okay with a couple 100-kilometer-an-hour winds, which is going to hit between 12 and 5. Now that freezing rain will continue overnight, and it might actually show some accumulation into tomorrow. Now, the other thing we'll be looking at later on in the show is the biggest Santa Claus parade in the province is back after taking a year off. So will the sun be there? As the kids would say, sun's out, guns out? We'll find out more about that coming up later on in the show.
Thanks, Jeremy. Well, Public Health is reporting 6 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 today, all on the island. 4 are in the eastern region. There is 1 in central Newfoundland, and there's a new case in the western health region. 1 person is being treated in hospital, and there are a total of 14 active cases in the province, with half of those on the east coast.
Well, last night you saw the first kids in the province roll up their sleeves to get vaccinated, some not so happy than others. The chief medical officer says about 15% of eligible children have already booked appointments. Well, that means there are still a lot of kids who don't have their shots booked. So if you're still trying to figure out how this all works for you and your children, here now is Meg Roberts, as you covered.
About 20 months into this pandemic, and children are finally able to get the COVID-19 vaccine. There's about 35,000 kids in the province aged 5 to 11, and they'll be getting a special reduced dose of the Pfizer vaccine. Now, although the vaccine rollout has already started, you might still have some unanswered questions. Questions like, how do I get my kid vaccinated? Parents can make an appointment at a community clinic like the one here in St. John's, and it's the same booking process as it was for adults. So you can either book an appointment online or you can call your regional health authority. Now, if there are no more appointments left, the health minister says another shipment's on the way.
Your child might also be able to get vaccinated at school. That's supposed to start next week, but the details are still being worked out. Now, it's not clear which schools will offer the vaccination program. It's up to each regional health authority. Parents would have to sign a consent form if that's the option they want to take, but parents can also opt out.
So do the benefits of the vaccine outweigh its risks? Health officials believe so. We know that children are not as largely affected by the disease, but the virus has caused death and serious complications in children, with some symptoms having potential to linger for months. The province's chief medical officer says there's a rare risk of a possible side effect which inflames the heart muscle, but Dr. Janice Fitzgerald says the country's top medical experts have determined that the vaccine is safe and effective in children.
Getting a needle is no one's favorite thing, especially not for kids, but experts say there are ways to make it a little bit easier. You can tell your kids that they're going to feel a poke or some pressure. You can also bring in toys or books to distract them, and if they're still feeling nervous, you can buy some numbing cream at the pharmacy. Meg Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
Oh, some great information there.
Yeah, and I saw Giver.
Yeah, it's a little moose.
Little moose, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the holiday season is already upon us. You just go for a drive in the evening and you'll see houses all lit up for the season.
Right, different kind of drive-in now. Hanukkah begins on Sunday, and the Jewish community in St. John's is marking the first day with a special drive-in.
Everybody, I'm Rabbi Hanan Chernitsky, Director of Chabad of Newfoundland. We're here at the Viking building, more specifically in the parking lot, because this coming Sunday we expect all of you to come to the public Hanukkah menorah lighting. It's going to be the 5th year in the making due to COVID. It's a drive-in event. Everybody will come. Starts at 4 p.m. so you want to come earlier so you get a good parking spot and you could see me very well. We're going to have the menorah, the big wooden candelabra, 8 feet tall by the front center so everybody could get a good look. As always, I'll be opening up the event with a powerful message of hope connected to Hanukkah. We have a number of illustrious politicians coming to share words of inspiration with the crowd. Some of them will participate in the lighting of the menorah. As always, we're going to be offering complimentary donuts. New to this year, we have hot drinks being brought to everybody's cars. And after the event, we'll have a wonderful fire juggling show. The whole event shouldn't last longer than an hour. So again, this Sunday, November the 28th, 4 p.m. at the Viking building parking lot, 136 Crosby Road. Be there or be there. Happy Hanukkah.
Love those options. Be there or be there. Smart rabbi. Well, from Hanukkah to Christmas, shoppers stormed the stores today for Black Friday, but found that a few of our favorite things, well, they just aren't for sale this year.
That's right. From games to guitars to winter boots to PS5s, there are some items that stores just can't get in stock. Here Now, Zach Gowdy has a preview of what probably won't be under your tree.
It's beginning to look a lot like you can't get it for Christmas everywhere you go.
Well, you know, it's always the busiest time of year, and we're definitely struggling with getting certain inventory, for sure. A lot of electric guitars like Fender, especially American Fenders. Some of the other lines, Squire, Gretsch, Martin, and there's other products as well that there's just no inventory to get. Since the pandemic hit, there's been a cease in production and an increase in demand. So that's made it pretty difficult for us to get things to put on the wall.
Snowshoes, cross-country skis, sweaters, slippers, Blundstones. Like, we have it, but we might not. Certain models from certain brands, those aren't available. We do have other options, so when fit and performance is the priority, we can take care of you. That one specific shoe in that size and that color, that might be a challenge.
There's some new releases coming out that I'm a bit worried about because I was hoping to get enough for everyone, but now it's like they're gonna have to fight over it, and I wish I could get more of it. But there's no way to do it. So I'm like, I hope you want different things this Christmas. The main thing that we have is plastic miniatures. We have a lot of it, and the plastic itself seems to be having trouble going to the manufacturers, and with their skeleton crew, they also can't seem to manufacture enough. There have also been some paints. There are chemicals in the paints that are hard for the manufacturers to get. For the past couple of years, it's become harder and harder to keep them in stock, and as you can see, I'm no problem stocking heavy, but they just aren't available. Oh, it's so frustrating. I want to help people with their stuff, but no.
And the prettiest sight you'll see is availability at your favorite store.
A bounce for pro sports and another opportunity for young basketball players in this province. I'm Terry Roberts. I'll have that story coming up.
I too am wondering how many takes it took, so I'm going to ask them. Now, coming up, we're going to talk about the St. John's Santa Claus Parade, which should be going ahead this Sunday. We'll talk about the weather. Let me hide it so you can actually come and take a look at it. That's coming up after the break.
Well, Jeremy's here filling in for the weather
Yeah, I'm
tonight.
sorry, I didn't mean to stick my hand out. I was just, before we jump into the weather, I did review the raw tape, and Terry Roberts, it took him 2 tries. The first one, he missed the hoop altogether and hit the backboard. Second one, he did it. So, Terry, well done. And I know
pretty
people,
good.
because that's what happens when you do something like that, because I do it a lot, because I do a lot of sports stories, people are like, how many takes did it take? And I said, well, you know, it took 2. And like, we don't believe it.
You couldn't let him have that one moment,
God,
could you?
no. God, no. Not for Terry. Anyways,
It's
I
still
digress.
really impressive.
It was pretty impressive. For a hockey player, it was very impressive. Anyways, let's talk. I've wasted my 20 seconds. I'll come back and chat to you later. Okay. All right, so let's just jump right into the weather. I'm Jeremy filling in for Ashley. I guess you figured that out by now. Here are today's highs. And despite being, the 26th day in November, it still was pretty mild in and around St. John's. 15 in Stephenville. 14 in Badger, which happens to be Terry Roberts' hometown. That's enough about Terry Roberts for tonight. 7 in St. Anthony. 8 in Blanc-Sablon. So it was a pretty good day all in all, except when you got up to Labrador, because obviously people have been without power since early yesterday morning. And one of the things that's hampering that effort is the fact that they've had a lot of freezing rain. And as I said earlier, there's a freezing rain warning was in effect for central Labrador up until earlier this afternoon, and there's currently still one in place, which will run into tonight in Labrador West. But let's just take a quick look at what we are going to see tonight. Sorry, I haven't done this in a while, so I'm lost. So basically what we're looking at is most of the island is going to see rain tonight, and then that's probably going to continue for much of the island coming into tomorrow. But if we move up into Labrador, we can take a quick look. Also, same sort of scene, but as you can see, I found the freezing rain icon and I threw that in. So there's still a freezing rain warning in effect for Labrador West, and that'll continue overnight, and then it'll probably turn into snow tomorrow, and they could see some accumulation. Nain was also under that freezing rain advisory as well, but it's stopped and ended, so they're currently tonight will be about 1 degree with a little bit of rain as well. But let's just take a quick look at the future tracker on what it's going to bring for the weekend, because every time I do the weather, people don't really care about tonight. They're like, is it going to rain tomorrow? Do I got to wear my raincoat? Do I need long johns? Do I need my long boots, as my neighbor asked me just this morning? So as you can see, starting tonight, there's going to be some precipitation moving in towards Labrador, as you can see it just down here, and then that bluestone, that stuff is obviously snow, so that's going to move into Labrador City, and it could bring 5 to 10 centimeters, but we'll get into that now in a bit. Now tomorrow what we're going to look at is rain. Now it's going to be cloudy with rain. The sun could pop out in some places as we move west, but it's not a lot of accumulation. You'll see precipitation, 40 to 60% chance for much of eastern and central here, and then, but you're not going to see, you could see maybe 2 millimeters a little bit, but now you'll see the sun icon comes out. It'll be 12 in central, up 12 up in Twillingate as well. You'll see a little bit of rain. And as we said, see, I made it too big. Now I'm in the way. Let me get out of here. So the Rec House wind warning is in effect from like 12 noon tomorrow until 5 p.m. So, but I'm sure that they're used to that given what they've been through that week. As you can see, as we move up the west coast, there's rain as well. But again, it's not going to amount to much. So that you can see all that green is not good, because that means that there's going to be a bit of rain. But they could see between 2 and 5 millimeters there on, near Mary's Harbor and up into Cartwright. And the further you go up, you'll see a little bit more. And as you can see here, I've seen videos on TikTok of Wabush, and there's a lot of snow there, so 5 to 10 centimeters. So that freezing rain is going to turn into snow, and they could see 5 to 10 centimeters. Churchill Falls will be a little bit warmer. Nain will be at 2 degrees, but it's also going to be a pretty damp day for much of the island. So let's take a quick look at the other future tracker that's going to come along here, and that's going to bring all this precipitation on Saturday. So basically the whole province will probably get wet at some point, whether it be rain, freezing rain, or snow. It's not looking good. But what is looking good, oh man, did I screw that up? Yes, I did. All right. What is looking good is the St. John Santa Claus Parade. Now, I know other municipalities are having parades later this month, but the biggest one in the province happens to be in St. John's. So it's going to happen on Sunday from noon to 3 p.m. It's a little bit, I heard someone from downtown St. John's, I believe that's who runs this, on the radio this morning saying there's a few less floats, so it's going to be quicker. So it might not run noon to 3, but the roads will be closed until 3 p.m. It's going to be mainly sunny. That's good news. Temperature is going to be 8, but it's going to feel like 5. Now the winds are going to stick at about 25 kilometers an hour, but it could gust up to 38. But all in all, when Santa Claus comes to town, the sun should be there to greet him. And after not having a parade last year, I'm sure lots of young People are excited to get out and line the streets, hopefully socially distant and with masks if needed.
Thanks, Jeremy. Well, there is another shakeup in the pro sports scene. This time, it involves Memorial University and the Fieldhouse in St. John's. A brand new basketball franchise with a familiar name will start playing home games at the complex next spring. Terry Roberts reports.
A rare marriage, a university and a pro sporting team. But that's what was announced today at Memorial.
This is a university of the community.
Sporting fans are well acquainted with the Kelly Cup winning Growlers ECHL hockey team. Well, now get ready for the Growlers Basketball Club, the newest addition to the Canadian Elite Basketball League, the CEBL.
I think you're going to see an amazing brand of basketball. This league is so exciting.
The league first saw action 3 years ago with 6 teams. But there's been steady growth, with the Growlers as the 10th franchise and the first from Atlantic Canada. The league has become a launch pad for many top-flight players and is recognized by Canada's governing body for the sport.
Our rosters include over a dozen senior men's national team members, players that have played in the NBA.
And here's the man behind the newest franchise.
Can't believe we pulled this off in the short period we have.
The Growlers will play home games here at the Fieldhouse, space for up to 2,500 fans. A 3-year deal that will see the club pay $75,000 annually to the university, money for athletic scholarships and awards.
They will have a significant and immediate positive impact on the lives of our student athletes.
My aspirations are to play, elite basketball, next year.
With the Growlers promising to sign at least one Memorial graduate to a contract.
This is very exciting, and I guess I've always wanted to play home, and this just kind of builds more to that and keeps adding to the motivation.
The CEBL season runs from May to August, the off-season for these university athletes and for other pro leagues, including the Newfoundland Rogues of the American Basketball Association, another pro franchise in the city that will make its debut at the Mary Brown Center on Saturday. And a third team, the Edge, which used to play at the Mary Brown Center, is taking the season off until it sorts out a place to stay. So is there room for this many pro basketball teams in St. John's?
You know, we're not competition to that league. We don't play at the same time. It's a whole different season, so it's kind of like, it doesn't matter.
And the timing? Making such a splash on the eve of the Rogues' debut.
I can't make decisions based on what other teams in other leagues are doing. We have to do what's best for this organization.
So who will play for the Growlers? Who will coach the team? Answers to those questions in the coming months. Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
These students from Lakecrest Independent School are getting an honor from the Association of New Canadians for their efforts to educate and combat racism and inequality. Stay tuned.
The emergence of a new variant is rattling markets and triggering travel bans. The Kovid variant was first detected in South Africa, and cases have been reported in Belgium and Israel. Health officials are concerned because of its high number of mutations, but they are cautioning against a knee-jerk reaction to the variant.
We still have to take a step back and suggest that we don't actually know enough about this. And just because you have more mutations, it doesn't mean the virus is actually going to behave in that way in real world settings.
Several EU countries, Britain and the U.S., have announced restrictions on air travel to and from a number of southern African nations, and Ottawa is banning the entry of foreign nationals who have traveled through southern Africa in the last 14 days. Testing and quarantine measures are being imposed for Canadians arriving from the affected area. No cases have been found in Canada. The World Health Organization has named the variant Omicron.
The Association for New Canadians is all about IDEAS, IDEAS, and that stands for Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Anti-Racism Summit. The ANC honored 3 students from Lakecrest Independent School in St. John's for their substantial research project about racism and prejudice, and there was another award for their teacher for helping young learners and adults learn more about bias and inequality. Have a look.
All students in the class have the opportunity to think about the ways in which there are barriers to equality in our province, in the world. And then they start thinking about their projects. And it's really a passion project. They start thinking about how they, as young people, can actively make a difference. And as we all know, children are greatly underestimated.
The project was important because it just brings out what's going on in the world that sometimes it's not talked about all the time. It was a lot of work. We had to do a lot of research. We wrote a research paper. We had to present to the whole school. We learned a lot, especially in my category, where people are paid differently because of their differences. If the gap is so big, it shouldn't be that big.
When you talk about it, you can help educate people on it, and then it can help lead to change.
Trying to look at it is a great way to help people see racism in your community, to try to stop it right at its source. Think before you speak and just really try to understand everyone and listen.
An equal opportunity.
Safety. Belonging. Their truest version of themselves.
Just because they're different doesn't mean they have to be put aside.
I think that everyone should feel safe and included in all areas in society. So I think that it's really amazing how we were recognized for our effort to raise awareness about it.
It's interesting, when students have a lot of choice in what they get to do, they're far more invested than when somebody prescribes something for them to do. They also learn that they have very strong voices in their community and that they can make a real difference. They have the opportunity to then teach each other, pledge to do better, understand what it means to be a bystander and then an upstander, which is far more important, and teach their parents. And there's a ripple effect that occurs from that. And so the power of connection and of research and of understanding and really connecting with people, I think, is one of the most important parts of this project.
Flooding is the most costly and common natural disaster in Canada. Storms have been slamming both sides of the country, including here in this province. Well, this week, CBC's Marketplace looks at flood insurance and why some homeowners are left without proper coverage. Stephen D'Souza has this report.
We had repaired in 2018, we would have ripped it out in 2019, and then again, and so on and so forth.
Back in 2015, the Archelesis thought this was their forever home. Instead, 3 floods and more than $100,000 in estimated losses. They say the home was inspected before they bought, and they were never told the area was a high-risk floodplain. The word flooding never came up.
Never came up.
No, never.
No.
Will the issue come up for us? We pose as home buyers, calling agents selling homes in floodplains. Are there any flooding issues, or is flooding a concern for that area in the house?
For that property, no. It's too far away.
So it's not on a floodplain or anything?
No.
Do you know, is there like flooding issues in the area?
No, it's not close to water. It's close, but it's behind is a laneway, and there's another property behind.
Oh, okay, so is it on like a floodplain or anything?
No.
Experts say the challenge is that there is no Canada-wide requirement to disclose future flood risk.
There's a requirement to disclose known risks. So the question comes, what is known and what's knowable?
He says many don't know they're at risk because Canada lacks accurate floodplain maps. In some areas, the maps available online or in municipal offices can be out of date or incomplete.
Let's pass the trail a bit.
But even knowing you're at risk isn't always enough. Despite not having a major flood, Derek Terakita lost his overland flood insurance. His insurer said his area and climate change means he's now high risk.
It's an insurance company. They're trying to protect their money.
Somewhere between 6 and 10% of Canadians are uninsurable.
Could that number grow?
As the risk from climate change increases, yes, more Canadians could become uninsurable.
The industry wants the federal government to step in to create a national insurance program for those at high risk. The government is studying the idea, but the Insurance Bureau of Canada says any action is likely years away. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, Toronto.
And you can find out if you're protected from flood damage tonight when Marketplace's full investigation airs at 8:30 Newfoundland time on CBC TV and CBC Gem, a half hour earlier in most parts of Labrador.
The rollout of COVID-19 vaccinations for 5 to 11-year-olds continues right across the country. And with the holiday season just around the corner, there are growing hopes that the latest push could mark a turning point in the fight against the pandemic. CBC's Tashana Reid has the story.
Between the hugs,
good job, Nolan,
and tightly squeezed hands, there's a sense of relief for the parents here.
Today feels like our children are going to be a lot safer with, their first doses of vaccine.
9-year-old Ava is excited to spend more time with family again.
You have to keep yourself safe and others safe, like your grandparents.
These shots for kids 5 to 11 come at a critical time. In the past month, more than 13,000 Canadian children between 5 and 11 tested positive for COVID-19. That's 20% of all infections in that time. Lives upended.
Disrupting schools has really affected many children and many families. We have a lot of mental health problems. We have a lot of kids who were not getting the kind of care that they needed.
This week, 10 public schools in Ontario closed due to COVID outbreaks. And in the past 2 weeks, the province has recorded more than 1,300 school-related infections in students. Across Canada, health officials are managing hundreds of cases in schools. Still, it's not up to kids to see us out of the pandemic, says this expert.
If you want to decrease hospitalizations, ICU, and deaths, it's always about the adults. And it's always about the older adults, the immune-compromised adults, the adults with obesity, hypertension, all of those things.
And as we head into the holidays, boosters will play a key role in preventing a fifth wave.
The combination of vaccinating children and boosters rolling out for especially the vulnerable means that our healthcare system is not in jeopardy and we might not see further waves.
And with each shot here, a shot at hope this pandemic could turn a corner. Tashana Reed, CBC News, Toronto.
Whereas Fat Cat or the Black Sheep, very fortunate to still have this room.
There's a community in the Black Sheep.
I remember it vividly, actually, the first day I held sticks.
I want to capture the gigs, I want to capture the facial expressions.
You're creating the song that you want to hear.
That made me feel better listening to that. And maybe I could write my feelings out and see how I like that.
It's really all about the music.
Well, let's see who's celebrating. Anniversary greetings going out to Albert and Eleanor Hefferon of Southeast Bight, who are celebrating their 51st wedding anniversary. Happy 61st wedding anniversary to Junior and Marion Bailey of Grand Falls, Windsor. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Joe and M. McGraw of Bishops Falls. Congratulations to Wally and Judy Russell of Carmenville on their 52nd anniversary. Happy 58th anniversary to Wilson and Joyce Nicole of Rocky Harbor.
Best wishes to Purdy and Velma Petton of Coley's Point, who are celebrating 52 years of marriage. Also celebrating 52 years are Pat and Jen Butler of St. Mary's. Congratulations. Wishing Linda and Norman Skinner of Galtus a happy 55th wedding anniversary. Congratulations to Stuart and Francis Burt of Charlottetown, Labrador on their 56th wedding anniversary. Harold and Phyllis Schwartz of Deer Lake are celebrating 65 years of marriage today.
Congratulations to Ernest and Doris Parsons of St. John's, are marking their 65th wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary to Edison and Hattie Brown of Rose Blanche, who are celebrating their 57th. Happy 58th anniversary to Cliff and Evelyn Thomas of Grand Falls, Windsor. Congratulations to Milton and Doreen Wells, who are celebrating their 55th wedding anniversary. And greetings going out to Mamie and Ken Party of Paradise, who are celebrating 60 years of marriage.
Happy 52nd anniversary to Jean and Robin Noseworthy of St. John's, now living in Mount Carmel. Happy 55th wedding anniversary to Artha and Rita Rideout of Long Pond. Best wishes to Donald and Mabel Best of Fogo Island on their 61st anniversary. Happy 57th anniversary to Hartley and Julie Spencer of Marguerite. And it's a golden anniversary today for Wince and Elsie Hobbs from Happy Valley Goose Bay.
Happy 52nd wedding anniversary to George and Joan Cram from Botwood, and wishing Gertrude and Gerald Maloney of Sweet Bay a happy 60th anniversary. Happy 61st anniversary to Harry and Eileen Noseworthy of Botwood. Happy 68th anniversary to Wilbert and Marie Weir of Little Bay Islands, now living in Springdale. Happy anniversary to Rodney and Evelyn House of Gander. It's their 50th tomorrow.
Happy 58th anniversary to Claude and Mildred Banfield of Salt Pond, Buren. Happy 58th wedding anniversary to Hubert and Daphne March of Greens Harbor. Love from family and friends. Congratulations to Ken and Doreen Russell of Bay Roberts, who are celebrating their 52nd anniversary. Happy 51st wedding anniversary to Kay and Jim Cluett of Frenchman's Cove. Aubrey and Mabel Ellsworth of Hughesbrook are celebrating their 70th wedding anniversary this Sunday.
Wow. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Herbert and Vera Butler of Paradise, with love and best wishes from family and friends. Anniversary greetings going to Shirley and Jim Mosher. They're celebrating their 63rd wedding anniversary. Happy 50th to Clarence and Effie Rose of Brigus. And happy 50th wedding anniversary as well to Clyde and Linda Hounsell of Pound Cove. All right, to some birthdays now. Happy 92nd birthday to Dorothy Hillier of Southbrook.
And here's an impressive birthday. Hercilia Moores of Clark's Beach turned 106 on Monday, and she continues to knit finger puppets and teddy bears for the Janeway. Hope you had a wonderful birthday. And happy birthday to Blanche Skinner of St. John's, who is celebrating her 90th. Best wishes to Alice Kavanaugh of St. John's, who's turning 91. Wishing Fern Murphy a happy 91st birthday this Sunday. Happy 94th birthday to Dulcie Genge of Anchor Point, now living in Flowers Cove.
Happy 90th birthday to Mildred Powell of Happy Adventure, now living in Glovertown. Happy birthday to Norman Hillier of Corner Brook, who's celebrating his 90th birthday. Happy 95th birthday to Florence Queenie George of Corner Brook, now living in Mount Pearl. Happy birthday to Anthony Lundrigan of St. Bride's, who's celebrating his 90th birthday, and wishing Susanna McDonald a happy 97th birthday today. She lives in Forto.
Happy 90th birthday to Jim Gulliver of Portugal Cove. Happy 90th birthday to Claude Gillard from Durrell, Twillingate, and birthday wishes going out to Eva Hilliard, who will be celebrating her 90th birthday on Sunday. Another fine crowd. Congratulations once again to everyone who's celebrating.
And happy birthday to you all. Every time I see that, I always think about when you go to a restaurant and they sing a song if it's your birthday.
Right.
And I think that's the music we need. Happy birthday. We're really glad you came. So anyways, we didn't get a chance to talk because I was dilly-dallying about Terry Roberts.
Right.
But the weather outside, I hate to say it, is a little bit frightful right now for tomorrow because we're probably going to get a fair bit of rain. Going to be some snow in Labrador West, but you know, things will pick up on Sunday. Let's take a look. So as you can see, this is our future tracker coming into Sunday as we look at the long range forecast for the next couple of days. So a lot of cloud cover. You're probably not going to see the sun much. Well, you're not going to see it because it's 4 a.m. So you can see there's some snow moving in there over Labrador, a little bit of rain down here. Where's my hands to? There we go. Just a little bit of rain down there. And that'll move off through the weekend. And I keep thinking I press the buttons wrong. Again, I haven't touched this system since the last time I was doing this a couple weeks ago. I can't remember when that was. Anyways, let's skip on from this and look at something better. There we go. So the look ahead. So this is our look ahead to Sunday. And as you can see, if I step back, see there's that snow in Labrador City. So it's going to be like there is a freezing rain warning happening right now, and then it's going to turn to snow. It's going to snow all day, and it's going to continue to snow into Sunday. As you can see, there's going to be some light snow there in Nain, Happy Valley, Goose Bay. I think this is my favorite icon right here, this one right here. I found this one today for the first time, and it's basically freezing rain and snow and rain mixed all in one. So the Straits, you're looking for a pretty good Sunday there, and 8 degrees in St. John's, 7 there in Marystown as well. Oh, I just realized I forgot to put in a picture of the day. Sorry about that. Anyways, so we're going to take a quick look at our future tracker here going into Monday and what we can expect next week. And as you can see, here's another massive system, and it just jumped. But another system is going to make its way across. There it goes again. It seems to stop, and then it'll pick up again for some. There it goes. I'm really good at technology. So this, you can expect to see some precipitation next week into Monday and Tuesday, and it's not going to be great. But the temperatures, while they're going to dip in Labrador, it's going to be pretty mild elsewhere. So we're going to take a quick, just a quick gander at this right now. So as you can see, it's going to be 11 degrees here in St. John's, in and around St. John's, and 8 degrees, which is the Santa Claus parade. So it should be a nice day for young people to go out and stand in their snowsuits and watch the parade. And as I talked about a couple of times, it was canceled last year, so this is the first time to come back. So they're probably expecting a few people to show up, a few fewer floats than last year, but there's still going to be a lot. It's still going to be a fun time. And as we move into next week, again, that system is going to bring in a little bit of rain. Now let's take a quick look at central Newfoundland. There we go. Third time's a charm. There we go. So as you can see on the western Newfoundland, you're looking at a bit of sun, but you're also looking at a mix there of snow and rain that's going to come. I know the folks up there at the Blow Me Down Ski Club in Marble Mountain will be looking forward to that. Central, you're also looking at that, but just take a quick look at those daytime temperatures. We're looking at 12 degrees on Saturday, 12 degrees on Tuesday, so it's looking pretty good. Now if we pop up into Labrador real quick, you can see the temperatures are really going to drop there in Labrador West. As I said earlier, there's already snow on the ground. You're looking down, you could go as low as -14 on Tuesday. Eastern Labrador, you're going to see a little bit of snow, but not like the West, and the temperatures are going to dip down to a cold of -10 on Tuesday. So Gary, we need to get out of this because I didn't put in a picture of the day, and if I do show a picture of the day, it's going to be the one that I actually put in yesterday, and we don't want to show that. So there we go, perfect. I'm a professional. Oh,
well, we will have a picture of the day on Monday.
Yeah, that's my bad. I meant to put it in, but this job requires a lot, and sometimes I just don't. I just can't remember it all. So I apologize.
Oh, it's Friday.
Great to have you back.
Take it easy.
I got tickets to a show.
All right, we'll see you.
See you later.
Good night, everyone. Bye.